This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Review. What I'm looking at today is the first season of Netflix's Squid Game. In 1860, the phrase, "you can't judge a book by its cover," was coined by Edward George in the book The Mill on the Floss. And it's one of those truisms that stands up well today. For instance, let's look at the series I'm talking about today. It's called Squid Game. It's a terrible title, at least from an American perspective. It's a terrible title because it has no real meaning. And most people know what a squid is, and I imagine would fail to see the connection. What it seemingly is referring to is a game played in South Korea with young children. I don't quite understand how the game works when they show it on the series, but it looks like a combination of King of the Hill and hopscotch. In any case, that's the introduction to the concept. The story revolves around people who are chosen to play a game where the stakes are essentially your life. At the start of the series, we're introduced to Jung Ji-hoon, who is a gambling addict, as well as just a bit of a waste. He lives with his mother, and he has a daughter who is with the wife and her husband, and his life is pretty much hanging by its nails. He's not very good at anything, and he was laid off at his job, and he's kind of drifting through life. And as I mentioned, he has a gambling problem, so he's given an option to play this game with a prize of trillions of Korean dollars. I think it's called the won, W-O-N. And so what happens is that this mysterious organization is gathering up people all over South Korea to play this game. Literally hundreds of them. So all these people are gathered in this room to play these games. We don't know who's behind it, though the spokesperson is a mysterious figure known only as the front man, and everyone has a mask. So you don't know who anyone is other than the people who are playing the game. They soon come to learn that it's a game very much designed to kill them if they don't succeed. It's very much in the vein of movies like Battle Royale from 2000, and I believe 2016's the Belko Experiment. So there's a huge cash prize for the winner. But to get to that cash prize, everyone else has to be culled. So the stakes are really high. Though it's a fascinating show. First off, because there's a political aspect to it. It feels to me like this series is a commentary on capitalism, which is to say you have mysterious people who you don't know, who literally control whether you live or die, and you have virtually no say in the matter. So on that level, it's pretty fascinating, and it's similar to the recent Netflix movie, The Platform, except that its metaphor isn't quite as blatant. Another interesting thing about this series is that the people who are initiating this, the front man, he is unusually democratic in the sense that though the stakes of this game are very much life and death for the contestants, he doesn't want cheating to go on. Like in most betting scenarios, the odds are against the contestant, and the house has the upper hand. It's no different in the Squid Game. So the contestants, the odds are stacked against them. It's designed to not only make them lose, but to turn against each other while it's happening. So therefore, not only what you have are the people fighting to survive the game, but fighting to survive each other. Like I said, Battle Royale. Though this is the idea where a relatively limited series comes in. Keep in mind, this lasts only 9 episodes, its first season. Namely, it has room to breathe. The concept has room to grow, and we get a feel for all the characters. Everyone has an arc of sorts, and so no one is quite anonymous. There are very few people who feel like cannon fodder in the sense that with the type of scenario you're dealing with, you know lots of people are going to die. And as I said, it's only a 9-episode series, so you're not going to see and meet everyone in it. It revolves around a few central characters, but even people who are background players, you feel empathy for, which is neat. It's kind of nice. Though, I wouldn't call Squid Game ultra-violent. It is quite violent, though, but I wouldn't call it ultra-violent. It's nothing you haven't seen before, though what's of interest is more how it's done. As I mentioned, it's based upon children's games that are typical for a place like South Korea. Though there is red light, green light, which is a game I played growing up, and it's familiar to most people. And let's just say their twist on it is something that you're going to find really, really fascinating. At the end, there's a winner, only one. But he is a person who is traumatized by what he's been a part of. He's won billions of won, but at the same time, he barely is able to spend it because that money is, in a very real sense, blood money, and it had a cost. So he is traumatized by the event. But what he comes to notice is that it continues. And apparently he tries to make a move to stop it. As I said, this is a great series. It's a pretty quick watch at 9 episodes, and it works really well. Though it's not perfect by any stretch. There are minor, niggling little issues. The greatest, to my mind, is that the reveal of the identity of a particular pivotal character doesn't quite work. If only because you don't know who that character was prior to having him unveiled. So to see his face, it's like a big shrug because the narrative didn't tell us who this person was in the first place. As I said, this is a Korean series, so there's subtitles available if you don't speak Korean. Though I noticed occasional situations where the subtitles didn't match what was actually said, though that was typically when characters spoke English. I mentioned earlier that this could be interpreted as a metaphor for capitalism, and it's strengthened by the fact that behind the curtain you have people who are seemingly American. You have the United States, in a sense, at the helm of a world in chaos. It's a fascinating series and well worth your time. This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com in review. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know down below. And as usual, consider a like or a follow. Peace.